Hi, I'm Trace Williams, thanking you once again for joining me for What Do You Think? Today's episode, Emotional Intellect, an oxymoron? How is it that people, both men and women, become involved in abusive relationships? Allow me, if you will, an opportunity to offer my opinion on how that happens. An abusive person sees a vulnerable person of the opposite sex. In this particular case, an abusive man meets a vulnerable woman. He exploits every emotional reaction from her to deepen his control over her. As she falls head over heels in love with this man, he begins to show signs of abusiveness. There are many red flags and stop signs along the way for the woman to see. However, because of her emotional intellect, she rushes right by them at full speed and with no regard to consequence. Is it that she did not see the red flags nor the stop signs? Or did she merely ignore them? Many times after the fact, she knows she had seen them, but her emotional intellect helped her make the decision to move forward with the relationship. This decision, often with the claim that he did not begin the relationship this way, so there is opportunity for him to revert back to the man that she met. Without fail, the man often does continue to change, only to become more abusive. The more he changes, the more he uses the emotional thought process of the woman to tighten his grip on her. This is a simple example of abusiveness, and it comes in many forms. I'm here to tell you that abusiveness in any manner is wrong, and if anyone is in an abusive relationship, do yourself a favor and remove yourself from that situation. But that is not the point of this story. The point of this story is that the mainstream media is the abusive man in this scenario. They have, for many years, seized the opportunity to advance their cause or their agenda by tapping into everyone's emotional intellect. What makes emotional intellect an oxymoron is that the emotion involved deters one from using their own critical thinking capabilities. We have been preyed upon due to our quote-unquote compassion. Words such as feel, felt, found, and pictures that drive deeper into your heart attack our emotional state and keep us from critical thinking. How about an example? Let's say there's a group of 10 children and 2 adults on a trip to the zoo. The day is going, wonderfully well, until it is time to see the lions. One of the adults makes the announcements that the lion exhibition is next, and one of the 10 children begins to cry and shake uncontrollably. The child is showing signs of extreme fear of the exhibit. How do we solve the problem? We solve the problem one of 2 ways. Because the child is showing obvious fear and will not enter the exhibit, we all skip the exhibit to save the child from having a complete meltdown, thus saving us from the obvious embarrassment of a screaming child. Resolve number 2. Because this child is showing obvious fear, one adult remains with the child outside of the exhibit, while the remaining 9, who are anxious to see the lions, enter. Either scenario resolves the issue. The question is, which is the correct way to solve the issue? In the first scenario, we used emotion to decide that if this child cannot enter, then we will all, quote, show our support, unquote, by sacrificing everyone's opportunity to view the lions. In scenario number 2, we removed emotion and used critical thinking that it would not be right to revoke the opportunity of the others for the sake of one. The media uses our emotion to explain to us that scenario number 1 is the true way of handling the situation. By using emotional intellect, we can be easily manipulated into believing what they say is truth. If we use critical thinking and remove emotion, we may come to a different conclusion. Apply these examples to what is transpiring in our media today. Is our country better off with the oxymoron of emotional intellect? Or shall we use our gift of critical thinking? I just ask the questions, folks. I'm Trace Williams, asking you, what do you think?